Has this ever happened to you? You've been working or you've been running around, lots of things going on, and all of a sudden you realize it's dinner time and you have not cooked anything and you are feeling maybe a little stressed, a little overwhelmed, don't know what you're going to eat. And either you wind up snacking on a bag of chips or you go out for takeout. If you have a preparedness pantry, that's not going to be a problem because one of the things that you can do is create meals in jar. So today I wanted to share a meal in a jar idea. I'll put the recipe down below for anybody who wants it, but this is a meal in a jar. It is, I call it camp stew, and it is chicken and butternut squash and peas and onions and delicious spices. And I'm going to show you how to put it together, and then we're going to talk about how to make it. So I'll try and bring that a little closer so you can see. This is a combination of freeze-dried and dehydrated food. So we have butternut squash on the bottom, chicken, peas, onions, and then there's a baggie of spices up at the top. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. And it starts with a wide mouth quart canning. We're going to open that up. And I use freeze-dried food for most of the things that are in here. So I have freeze-dried butternut squash. I happen to like this particular brand. This is just butternut squash, nothing else in the can. And when you open it, you can see there it is. And then I'll open all of them before I start putting it all together. I also have peas and I have chicken. And so the way we're going to make this, that's what the chicken looks like. The way we're going to make this is we're going to layer everything in the jar. It's going to be on my pantry shelf. And then when I need a quick meal, I can take it out, and with a little bit of water and a couple of tablespoons of oil, the meal is ready to go, because I also have all of these spices and delicious flavors. So I will say 3 of the things that are in this jar are freeze dried, so they maintain a lot of flavor and they're easy to rehydrate. I also use, these are Vidalia onions that I dehydrated myself. And one of the great things about using these, they add a lot of flavor. And because I dehydrated them myself, it's a pretty inexpensive option. Dehydrated foods, if I were to dehydrate the butternut squash and the chicken and the peas, for example, it would require more water, and it would be a little bit more work to rehydrate it. The freeze-dried stuff tends to rehydrate pretty quickly. We're going to start with a cup. Just grab a few pieces here and put that in here. This is a jar funnel. It makes it very easy to fill my jars. Jar funnels are pretty easy to get. They usually come in canning kits. I have 2. I have a plastic one for dry goods, and I did pull out my glass one. If you are doing hot liquids going into one of these, into a canning jar, because you're going to actually can it, you do want either a glass or stainless steel jar funnel. So we have 1 cup of butternut squash, and then we have a cup of chicken. Put that in there. Well, there's the chicken, pour that in, and there is a little bit of dust. We'll just move that in there, and then a 1/2 cup of peas. And this is one of those measuring cups that has the measurements on the inside. It's my favorite one to use for this because it makes it very easy. And then a 1/4 cup of the onion. There we go. And so you can see that the jar is fairly full. The jar is fairly full, but there's still some room in here. And now what we're going to do is use a square baggie. You'll see that there's still some room in the jar here, and that is where we're going to put a bag of spices. And the reason I'm putting the spices in a separate baggie is because I need to rehydrate everything that's in the jar first. And then when I saute it after it's been rehydrated, that's when I want to add the spices. If I add them while I'm rehydrating, then as I drain if there's any liquid left, if I drain it, then the flavor would be going down the drain along with it. So I like these square baggies. This is the brand that I got. It's very easy to put into the jar. So we're going to open that up, and I'm going to take off all of my lids here and So we have, I'll tell you what everything is in just a second. I open everything first. So we have thyme, and this is rosemary, and this is parsley. And then we have garlic salt. And last but not least, we have bouillon. I do tend to use different bouillons. It just depends on what's on sale. This one is a really delicious one. This is a premium vegan broth base. I do like it, and I'll put the link down below for you. So we open up the baggie here. Actually, let me move this out of the way. And we take 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of rosemary, 1 heaping teaspoon of parsley, 1 teaspoon of garlic salt. And I tried using a smaller bag, but there's too much goodness in the flavor packet to fit in a smaller bag. So that's why we're using this one. And then we take a tablespoon for the broth, the bouillon, and then we close it up, swish out any of the air, fold it in half, put it in our jar, and then on the lid. And I now have a meal in a jar. Easy and straightforward, simple to go. And then I have my instructions right here that tell me how to make it, and put it on the jar, add tape, and I now have a preparedness pantry jar. Here's the one that I had before. So I now have 2 jars in my pantry, and it takes approximately 20 minutes. So 15 minutes to rehydrate what's in here, drain it, and then 5 minutes to saute it just to warm it through. Quick, easy, delicious, nutritious, single ingredients all together in a nourishing jar. So check the recipe down below. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, folks. Bye.